I'm 14, and I live in South Africa. The sounds of gunshots outside are just part of life here, an unsettling norm. My family's house is big, filled with security cameras, motion detectors, and 2 gates for extra safety. Power cuts are regular, another reminder of the country's broken systems. But nothing in my life prepared me for what happened that night. It started like any other Saturday. We were eating dinner when my brother suddenly asked, "Did you hear that?" I wasn't paying much attention, brushing it off. He said he heard something break outside on the patio, maybe a bottle. I wasn't paranoid like he was, so I finished my meal and headed upstairs to study for my exam. My parents left for the gym as usual. The crash came shortly after, right from the patio, just like my brother had said. This time, I felt a shiver crawl up my spine. Moments later, my brother burst into the room, his face as pale as a ghost. His eyes were wide with panic, an expression I'd never seen before. Without a word, he grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the stairs. "Upstairs, now," he said, his voice urgent. I was too confused to argue, but I followed him as he slammed the metal shutter down over the stairwell, one of those safety measures we only use in extreme situations. The kind of thing you don't mess with. He led me to his room on the 3rd floor, pointing out the window. At first, I thought it was just a shadow on the patio, some stray bush or something. But as I stared harder, my heart dropped into my stomach. There was a man, holding a broken wine bottle. His hair was wild, his beard unkempt. But it wasn't just the sight of him that made my skin crawl. It was his eyes, wide, crazed, like someone who had been locked away for too long. His smile. It wasn't human. A grin that made my blood run cold. "Who is he?" I whispered, but the words were barely out of my mouth when he turned his head, locking eyes with me. That smile never faltered. Then, like a switch had been flipped, he started moving. Slow, jagged steps, stumbling toward the door. He was coming for us. My brother yanked me away from the window, pulling me toward my room. His hand gripped mine tightly, his voice shaking. "It'll be okay. Just stay close." But we both knew it wasn't. We could hear him now, footsteps creaking up the stairs, heavy and deliberate. And then, the power went out. It was pitch dark, the house swallowed by shadows. My brother fumbled to lock my door, his breath ragged. "Without power, the shutters are useless," he muttered. "We can't stay here." I didn't need him to tell me that. I was already frozen in fear, clutching the hunting knife I'd received for my birthday. My hands were slick with sweat as I gripped it, heart hammering in my chest. The sound of metal dragging across wood came next. A slow, agonizing scrape. It was the shutters being forced open. I wanted to scream, but the fear had frozen my throat. My brother shoved me into the cupboard, handing me the knife. "Stay quiet," he whispered. The scraping continued, relentless, as if he were savoring the terror. I held my breath, hoping for a miracle. Finally, we heard sirens. The police arrived, and after what felt like an eternity, they captured the man. They told us he'd escaped from a local asylum months ago and had a long history of violence, manslaughter charges. And if my brother hadn't been there to protect me, I don't think I'd be here today. But I'll never forget that night. Sometimes, I still hear the scrape of metal on the door, echoing in the darkness. I try to ignore it, but I can't escape it. It haunts me.